Hey everybody, I'm Josh.
And I'm Zane. Some people call us the Merva Brothers.
And some people call us two flat tires with no spare.
Hey, I thought you upgraded us to the run flats. Where did my money go?
I think I spent it on beer. Sorry about that. My bad.
Anyways, welcome.
We got AAA. We're fine.
Oh, okay. That's true. That's true. Welcome to GM Joyride, presented by GM-Trucks.com and produced by Bank Chevrolet.
So how's it going, man? It's good to be back. We haven't been canceled yet. Good.
Episode number 3, baby.
Episode 3.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of time since episode 2, but we've been driving a lot of great GM vehicles and
traveling a lot.
Yeah.
We probably got since the last time we recorded this, we've driven about 6 or 8 different new GM models, and wow, do we have a lot to talk about?
Yeah. So what are some of those models that we drove? We
spent a week in a couple different trucks. We had a Colorado ZR2 Bison for a week that we drove, which was really amazing, and then the corresponding Canyon AEV edition,
Yep.
HE4X, which are kind of like the pinnacle of the off-road midsize truck.
That was a lot of fun
offers.
to be able to drive them around here in the woods and the smaller trails, and those trucks are just perfectly sized and
the Class 6 road and logging trail type stuff we have around here. Mid-sized trucks really lend themselves to be perfect for that.
Yeah.
It was a great size. We went around the backside of Pat's Peak ski area.
Yeah, that was
checking out some old trails.
Yeah, it got pretty gnarly back there. In a few places, I was a little worried, but those trucks just handled it great, and it's awesome to have that smaller form factor for around here in New England.
Yeah,
and we also drove the Sierra Ultimate Denali, which was a beautiful truck. Wow, the interior on that thing was
top
fantastic.
Of the line, massaging seats, heated, cooled seats, every luxury, huge sunroof, a 6.2 liter V8. That's like the top of the GMC Sierra lineup right there.
I think that might be
the Denali Ultimate.
A deep dive on that truck might have to be one of our next episodes.
I think so.
Just gorgeous. I love the wood trim inside and some of the accents they did with the topographical, basically a topographical map of Denali inside was just awesome. So.
Yeah, very, very nice interior. And then we drove a Suburban High Country with the 3-liter Duramax diesel as well. That thing is
incredible how well it drives.
I called
one of the best people movers that I can think of.
Yeah, I called it the school bus because I literally felt like with the diesel engine and it's so long and so big.
The fastest school bus you've
ever seen. And it drives great. Like you can go hundreds of miles. I drove it hundreds of miles in a weekend, and me and the 4 people I was bringing along all had plenty of room. It had streaming YouTube and Hulu in the second row with massive screens, and got like 27 miles to the gallon the whole time. I can't believe it.
Awesome. And we're not going to talk about any of those models today because we were also out in Georgia, which was awesome. It was a nice little break to get away. This was a couple weeks ago, get out of the cooler weather in New Hampshire and down south, and I felt like I was going to get attacked by an alligator, but apparently they're not there, so I feel dumb for even thinking that.
Expectations dashed.
Yeah.
Came to see an alligator, ended up driving a Chevy Traverse instead.
Yeah, the Traverse was amazing. And so that's what our episode today is going to be on, the new 2024 Chevrolet Traverse. So,
yeah, we got a lot to talk about, but before we do that, we're going to catch up on a little bit of stuff we have lingering over us. We have a few truck stumpers that we have not properly,
You guys let us down and didn't give us good answers right away, so we had to wait for this episode to answer both of them. And we finally got some correct answers, so let's dive right into it.
So, Josh, do you remember the very first truck stumper that we posed way back in episode 1?
Vaguely. It was like 3 months ago, so I don't know.
Emailed it to you, so I'd like you to kind of give us the recap.
All right, let's go through it again here.
Check it out.
Truck stumper number 1 recap. In the early 2010s, engineers at General Motors embarked on a mission to tackle an age-old nemesis of pickup truck design, wind noise.
I remember this one now.
With the launch of a new Silverado and Sierra, they introduced a subtle yet effective feature, cleverly designed to reduce the intrusive sounds of the wind that often accompany high-speed travel. This feature, while hardly noticeable at first glance, played a pivotal role in enhancing the cabin's tranquility, making journeys more serene for drivers and passengers alike. What is that feature? Yeah, what is that feature? And we got a lot of really great wrong answers. So good job.
A ton of great wrong answers.
Everything
active
from noise cancellation.
Active noise cancellation was a pretty popular one. The angle of the windshield, which I hadn't thought about before, but that makes sense. That was another one that we saw.
Yep, gaps, door gaps and stuff like that. But
different types of tires.
Those were all wrong. So I'll give you the correct answer now. And we did get someone who got it correct. So the answer lies in the answer lies in the 2014 GMC Sierra and Chevrolet Silverado, which introduced inlaid doors that fit into recesses in the side of the body. The design was a departure from the traditional doors that wrapped over the top of the body sides.
So the answer was inlaid doors that were that fit tighter against the body, allowing air to pass over them more easily. And the result is less wind noise.
Yep. By fitting the doors into the body, the engineers were able to reduce the wind noise at higher speeds significantly. This feature was part of a broader effort to improve the overall aerodynamics of the truck, enhancing the fuel efficiency and reducing the cabin noise, a key aspect of vehicle comfort often neglected in pickups until that point. So
yeah, that was a big change in the 2014 models, the new K2s at that point. Was these inlaid doors and how much more refinement it brought to the truck.
Yeah, so I think what we'll probably do is overlay some of the older design with the newer design, and you'll be able to see. But basically, instead of the door wrapping over top of the truck, it now kind of sits nicely down below and on the side.
Yeah.
And so who knew that change alone would make such a huge difference? But Neil S. did in Hartford, Connecticut. So congratulations, Neil. Going to send you a swag bag and get
lots of goodies,
decals, and who knows what else we'll throw in there. But congratulations on winning our first truck Stumper.
So now that we have that out of the way, finally, that baggage on my back of the truck Stumper unresolved was just too much. Now we can get down to what people really want to hear about, and that is our first drive of the 2024 Chevrolet Traverse.
Yep, it was, like we said, it was, we flew to Atlanta, Georgia. We drove over to Douglasville. We had a chance to go to Foxhall Resort. Great place. It was like a wedding event place, and there was skeet shooting and trap shooting and that kind of stuff, and
a horse barn.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Ponds,
it was a great place.
Fields, trails.
Yep.
About 24 custom skeet shooting setups for people.
They weren't too happy when I started shooting at stuff. But
you weren't supposed to shoot the Trailblazer.
No, we'll have to go back and check out some of the clay shooting that's there, because it looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
we
really
didn't get a chance to do that, but we had to drive the 2024 Traverse, which was amazing. It's all new, all redesigned. So
yeah, and they used the resort that we were at to basically show off the different features, from the Z71 and its off-road ability to the RS and how great it handles the roads around Atlanta and Super Cruise and all that stuff. The whole resort kind of set the tone for the vehicle in itself, and that is comfortable, approachable, and a really well done machine. I mean, if you own a Traverse today and you're thinking about upgrading to a new model, this 2024 model is going to feel a lot like what you've been driving the last couple of years, in the terms of the layout, the number of seats, the configuration, where the cubby holes are, where everything's laid out, all the controls. But it's better, way better.
Yeah, it's a lot the same, and yet it's completely redesigned. I mean, it's not a revolution; it's an evolution of the Traverse brand, and I think the biggest thing that sticks out is the fact that instead of the 3.6 liter engine, we now have a 2.5 liter engine. So
yeah, biggest change of this whole thing is that the engine has been replaced. I own a Buick Enclave with the 3.6 liter V6, so I'm very familiar with that engine. So I'm sure, like a lot of people who love that thing,
it's a great engine.
It's a great engine. You're going to be kind of apprehensive to go from a V6 to a 4-cylinder, but
I was skeptical.
Very skeptical, but it pleasantly surprised us. GM, we spent some time talking to their engineers and other development people, and they really focused on durability, and that this engine had a lot of power, which, speaking of power...
Yeah, I mean, the outgoing 3.6 liter has 310 horsepower. Great number. This engine has 328 horsepower.
Yeah,
so you get an 18 horsepower bump, which... That's noticeable in the seat for sure. And then the big difference is we now have 326 pound-feet of torque. Like, wow, it's 60 more pound-feet of torque than the 3.6. So, you know, the old adage of there's no replacement for displacement, I kind of feel like, you know, as truck guys, I was skeptical, but like, I guess the replacement is a turbocharger because, man, they did a really great job with this engine.
And it gets better fuel economy, too.
Yeah, it's a triple win. You get more horsepower, more torque, and better fuel economy. So, you know, we're VA guys who love our 6.2 liter, but I gotta say that engine was awesome.
Yeah, you're not really giving up much over the 3.6 liter.
Yeah.
I did notice that when you get on it from a stop, maybe there isn't as much low-end torque right off the line compared to the 3.6, but the minute it gets into those mid-levels and the turbo kind of kicks in, the turbo boost, the mid-levels are significantly more powerful than the 3.6 liter. It drives more responsive.
Yeah.
It
doesn't sound like a V6.
It doesn't.
You know, that would be the one thing I'd say is it doesn't sound quite as good. But hey, it doesn't sound bad, and you know, it's worth it to have the extra power. So I'll take the power over the way it sounds.
Yeah, exactly. So. And so this 2.5 liter is attached to an 8-speed automatic transmission, which you can get in either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And we had an opportunity to try out the all-wheel drive versions. During our
so
trip.
there's a little bit of a different lineup with the trims, basically. Instead of the Premier and the High Country, those are out. We have the LS, the LT, the RS, and the Z71. So
yeah, you should have said Z71.
Yeah, the RS is positioned above the Z71, which we'll get into. But let's start with the RS since that was the first thing we drove. So
yeah, so top of the line, fully, completely, all the options from sunroofs to Super Cruise, heated and cooled seats. The new interior. We haven't even talked about the new interior yet or the new styling on the whole thing.
Yeah.
So they've really decided to go a more of a truck route with the way this thing looks. So you're going to see a more masculine front end, something that resembles more of the Colorado than a car. Where in the past they talked about the Traverse kind of was maybe styled after the Malibu. Now the Traverse shares more styling with the Colorado and the Silverado and the bigger the trucks.
I always liked the styling of the previous generation Traverse a lot, but man, the new Traverse looks amazing, especially in RS. The black rims, just everything about it, the blacked out package that it comes with. The colors were really good. We drove a really interesting Stardust metallic, which was kind of like a
pink purplish hue.
Like depending on how the sun hit it, it would probably
with green in it too. Kind of.
Yeah, they looked kind of surprised when we were like, we want to drive that one,
the pink one. We'll take the pink one.
But it might not be the color I'd pick if we were to buy it, but like it was an eye-catching color.
It photographed and videoed really well.
Yeah, so
it looked good.
What do you guys think of that color? We're going to show some clips of it. Let us know what you think. Is this a color you would consider in your 2024 Traverse?
Yeah, I think they offer it on the Acadias and some other models now as well, but it's definitely a unique option as well. And of course, you have the traditional blacks, grays, reds, whites,
all the boring.
All the
if you're really exciting, you get the Stardust metallic. I'm just throwing that out there.
So the styling does share a lot with the trucks. In the back, you get some of the Blazer EV kind of maybe in it with the taillight design.
Yeah, all LEDs all around, looked really good.
Yeah, the lighting package is really impressive. When you walk up to the RS, it kind of greets you. The lights kind of turn on sequentially with the turn signals.
Yeah, and if you walk up to the back, it'll pop open the trunk, which was a really cool feature. That worked really good when you did it.
Yep. The other big thing is the interior is completely new. The dash in front of the driver and front passenger shares absolutely nothing with the outgoing model, and it's GM's new Google built-in infotainment system in a 17.7-inch format.
Android based, and we have raved about it in prior episodes of GM Joyride. It just works really good. You can put your
And it's
Spotify
huge.
details in, your Google Maps details in. You can even put your Google Maps screen behind in the driver information center while you're driving. So it just works really good.
Yeah, you've got this like
Tons of
12-inch
screen for miles.
12-inch gauge cluster followed by a 17-inch infotainment system. It's like this one big screen wrapped around you, and that is standard in all the models of Traverse. From the LS, LT, Z71, RS, all the way up, whether you get the base model or the most optioned out one, you were going to get the same interior, the same infotainment system with the same features. And it's really impressive because it's very slick and very high technology.
I thought it was really cool how they put the volume button like in the screen. And I've seen that done. I think there's some other manufacturers that have done something similar, but I just like the way they did it. It worked really good. And it just...
Yeah, as you turn the volume knob, first off, the volume knob is floating in a screen. And as you turn it, an animation around the knob, you can see the volume click up. And it has this animation that basically kind of goes
shows
around.
You the volume.
Shows you the volume.
Just cool. I mean, it's just a little nice touches that they did around that just give it that polished look. Something that threw me off right away was that they've moved the shifter up to the column.
Yes.
And
so it completely electronic
really
shifter
opens
now.
up the console area a lot. Also very interesting is that the lights switches have moved into the infotainment system. So that took me a second to figure out.
Well, like we said,
not a
lot
deal.
More like the trucks, because the Colorado has that same feature where the outside lights are no longer a dial that you can turn or a button you can push. It's just a selectable option within the infotainment system.
At first I was surprised, but it makes sense. It just cleans up all the buttons that you have around, and it simplifies things. And how often you're really turning the lights on and off? I feel like we do it more for photography than we do anything else. So you set it and forget. You put it on auto anyways, and so now it's one less thing.
Yeah, one less cost for them to include. Yeah. You don't touch most people don't touch the lights anyways, so I don't think it's a terribly big deal.
Yep.
All right, so we've covered the engine.
Yep.
The new styling outside, the new interior.
The styling
inside.
is great. I love it. It's going to be a home run. I mean, we were going to have a Traverse behind us.
Yeah, we were supposed to have one behind us. That was going to be our like awesome, background here.
But people keep buying them.
Yeah, they can't keep them on the lots here at Bank Chevrolet. And they actually sold the one we were supposed to have behind us before we could use it.
How dare you?
Yeah, guys, come on. We got to work together here. We need a proper background, and we don't have it. Okay, so we drove the RS first.
Yep.
And that is the fully optioned, heated, cooled seat, Super Cruise, huge sunroof, Bose sound system, all-wheel drive.
Pretty much fully loaded.
Fully loaded, 22-inch rims, black.
And Super Cruise.
Yeah, Super Cruise, I said that.
Oh, okay, I didn't catch that. I learned something about Super Cruise. Since our last episode was all about Super Cruise.
Yeah.
It was nice to chat with an engineer about it. And when we drove the RS, one of the things that I immediately noticed was that Super Cruise seemed to just act a little bit differently than our Hummer does. And I started asking him questions, and what I realized and learned was that the Super Cruise tuning is different across all vehicles, and it makes sense because depending on how wide the vehicle is, it's going to be more or less aggressive with hugging the center of the road. And because the Traverse RS is actually quite a bit narrower than the Hummer
or a full-size truck.
Yeah, it just seemed to handle that a lot better. It was it let it be more natural and everything. So Super Cruise, everything that you love about it is
the tuning's really nice.
Yeah, it just worked really, really good.
And Super Cruise can be had on LT, Z71, and standard on RS.
Yep.
And
just not on LS, so it's something you can add on to a package.
Yeah, and it's about a $3,500 option, which is quite a bit. It does come with some other features like a rear view camera mirror and some other small technology items.
Yep.
But if you think Super Cruise would be something you're interested in, it's probably worth that investment because you can't add it on later. It's impossible.
Yeah.
You have to get the vehicle equipped with it the day you buy it at the dealership. You can't subscribe to it later or add it on later. So if you think you want Super Cruise, definitely opt for that package.
Yep. Interior, third row, I made you get in the back of it. What did you think?
You did make me get in the back of it.
I was immediately impressed with how easy it was to open or pull the seat forward, the second row seat.
Yeah,
Man,
so
they've done a good job with
off the bat, the second row seats now can fold forward and keep a car seat in them while you fold forward, which is, as somebody who just got out of car seats and all that, booster seat stuff, that's great. Not having to unhook your car seat just because you want to slide the second row forward is awesome from a parent perspective. Even better, though, is that the third row seats are not just limited to tiny kids anymore. You can finally put in your teenagers and your full-size adults.
You fit back there.
I fit back there just fine.
What does that say?
And at least
plenty of headroom, too.
In the RS, it's a one-button push, power release for the second row. So you can literally walk up, open the second row door, push a button, the seat slides forward. You have plenty of room to get in the back, and you just pull the seat back, and it clicks into place, and you're ready to load up.
Yeah, they did a really great job with it. That's just one of those things that you're using it probably every day, especially if you have kids and they're buying a Traverse and you want the third row and all that. Mm-hmm. You're going to be using that a lot, and it's just one of those features that it changes the everyday use of it.
If you have to remove a kid's car seat to properly use the second row,
third row,
third row,
you
are going to be frustrated every time you go to do that.
Yep.
To not have to think about it makes your vehicle more usable.
One, little miss, I think, is that you don't have heated seats in the third row. I know that some of the competitors do, so I'd like to see that kind of maybe get offered moving forward, just to help compete with the competition. But then again, how spoiled do your kids need to be back there anyway? So
I know our enclave is 3 rows, and we 95% of the time use the third row folded down. So it's mostly storage. And then when we got to haul more kids around, you pop it up and fill everybody up and turn it into the family bus.
Yeah. The other thing that I personally didn't like, maybe you can comment, but the red accents in the RS are they're cool, but they might not be for everybody. I don't know if they were for me. But it seemed like if you were getting the RS, you ended up with that interior color choice.
Chevy has gone to a little bit more splashy interior on the Z71 and the RS.
Yep.
It has more color to it. There's like a red kind of detail to the dash, and it fits in the RS.
Yeah,
but maybe not so much.
It just might not be for everybody.
Levels.
It just might be nice to have other options available, but pretty minor complaint in the grand scheme of things. What do you think about the interior? Let us know down below. What do you think of the red accents on the interior?
Yeah, would that just help you decide whether or not you were going to buy a vehicle if it had some sort of interior component you either liked or didn't like? I'd be interested to know that.
Anything else we're missing about the RS before we move on to
how it drove? I mean, it was smooth. Yeah. Even though it had huge 22-inch tires on it, it sucked up the road. It was composed.
The steering was a lot different, and the steering wheel was awesome.
Well, we're going back to how Chevy is saying this is a more truck-like vehicle.
Yeah.
And instead of over-boosted, comfortable steering, now we're getting a little bit more feedback, truck-like steering.
Yeah, yep. And it made me realize that with the outgoing Traverse, the steering was a little bit more minivan-like or something. I'm not sure how to put my finger. Yeah, it just did. I realize now how much I like the steering on the new Traverse better. So I think they did a good job with that.
Yeah. The whole package is just very compelling. And that brings us to the Z71.
Well, we have a truck stumper. Yeah, first we got another truck stumper
to close out here.
Yeah.
So let's take care of that.
Yeah. All right, so truck stumper number 2, we got a good answer, a correct answer for that as well. Zane, do you remember what the truck stumper was?
I totally remember it, and you should too, because we battled it out in the midnight fuel duel. It was you versus me, identical 2023 Colorado and Canyon.
And I kicked your butt.
And somehow you won. And the whole premise of this truck stumper was that Josh and I drove identical trucks during an identical route, weather time, right next to each other on the road. And somehow when we got to the end, Josh had better fuel economy than me, even though our trucks were identical. And we asked you, how? If our trucks were identical, how did one of us get better fuel economy than the other? And the answer was actually pretty simple. You did some basic maintenance that I forgot to do.
Yeah. I might have checked the tire pressure and added a few PSI.
And I might have been lazy and let my tire dip a little bit too much.
And who would have thought that would have made all the difference in the world for me winning?
It did, but it did. A 5 or 6 PSI difference can make a significant change in your vehicle's fuel economy. And I had let mine slip a little bit below what the recommended levels were, and you were proactive and added a little bit of air over what they should have been, giving you maybe not the better tire wear, but
and maybe not the better ride, but it certainly helped improve
but you kicked my butt.
Improve the gas mileage. Yep. There's, I guess, an overarching lesson there that depending on what you're doing, you might want to consider, where your PSI is at. If you're going to be going on the beach, you might want to lower it, or going off-roading, you might want to go to a lower PSI. And if you're going to be traveling long distance and want to get better gas mileage, you might want to think about adding a few PSI. So some nice lessons in there.
To make a few differences. Jason T. in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, he is our big winner. Again, he's going to get a nice big swag bag from GM-Trucks.com and Banks Chevrolet. So thanks a lot. Jason, you actually figured this one out.
Yeah, we got a lot more good answers on this one. So good job, guys. And we don't have a new truck stumper today, but we will probably be doing another one next episode. So if you've got any truck stumpers of your own and would like to submit them, send them our way.
And we'll happily steal them and call them our own.
Yeah.
Well, it's time to talk about the big kahuna.
Yeah, which is?
The Traverse Z71. We got to finish up this review. People, we've been talking on long enough, and people want to know about what I think is the hottest new trim level in the Traverse.
It's exciting that they did this, and they didn't just slap a badge on it and say Z71. And so
it actually is different, right?
Yeah, they did a lot of really meaningful adjustments to make sure that this thing is going to go further off-road than...
So going to Moab in my Traverse now, right?
Yeah.
Really?
GM turned us down on that offer to do it. I think we could, and it'd be a lot of fun, but I don't know. It's important to talk about, what the Z71 is supposed to do and what it's not. This is not a rock crawling vehicle. This is a Traverse that has more ground clearance.
1 inch more of ground clearance.
Yep. It's got skid plates.
So, substantial skid plates, which are designed and built to support the weight of the vehicle. So if you actually accidentally drive it up on a rock and the whole vehicle's weight sits on that skid plate,
it's functional skid plates.
Not going to be a big deal.
Yep. The
off-road tires.
Yep. Bigger tires. So
not bigger tires, but more meaty tires with more sidewall and deeper tread.
Yep. And you get the drive mode, so you got terrain mode with the one pedal driving, and
off-road mode, terrain mode.
You use the terrain mode, right? What did you think about that? What is the terrain mode?
Well, so when you compare or when you talk about the drive modes and the all-wheel drive system that is in this vehicle, it basically allows the driver to customize the throttle response, the braking response, and the all-wheel drive response based on whether you're on normal roads, just an off-road trail, or a terrain mode is what they call, something a little more serious and technical. And when you're in terrain mode, you can use one pedal driving, which allows you to just use the accelerator pedal. And when you let off, it applies brakes. It allows you to tackle more technical, slow-moving terrain without having to shift your foot between the gas pedal and the brake back and forth. You can do everything with just one pedal.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I didn't do it. You used it.
Yeah, no, it's a great feature to have. Again, drawing features from the truck world and bringing them into this mid-size crossover-ish segment.
Yeah, we have it in our Hummer EV, and it's great when you're off-roading. You don't have to worry about the brake pedal at all. You literally only are using the gas, and it's awesome. So excited to see that feature.
And with the twin clutch all-wheel drive, which allows them to send power front and back, side to side, this is basically the perfect New England all-weather, all-season vehicle.
Yeah.
Again, with the trails systems and the dirt roads that we have here and the nor'easters that we get in the winter, it really, this is like, they're going to sell a ton of those vehicles.
The off-road loop that we went on, I think, was kind of, a little on the milder side, let's say, because that's like a normal off the normal dirt road here in New England. So
yeah.
we didn't get exactly a chance to like test it out completely off-roading, but it handled
we drove
the route
we drove it in a field and skidded it around on some grass.
Yep.
We drove it on a gravel road, on an incline gravel road.
Yep.
And then on a very, very tight trail through the woods.
Yep.
And then the Z71 also has the surround view camera system, which was really key when we were bobbing and weaving through the tight trail and the trees that were kind of pushed up against the side of the vehicle and the trail and everything. Allowed us to maneuver through pretty easy.
Yep. It's also got the Z71 specific front fascia to help with approach angles when you're tackling
looks a little
that
even
terrain.
more aggressive.
Yep.
And the front and the rear kind of pushed in just a little bit with skid plates to allow for more ground clearance.
The dampers were tuned specifically for the Z71 model, so that we found that those worked really good. And there was a couple.
Comes with cloth seats standard. You can get the EvoTex leather substitute seats as well, which we didn't even realize it was a thing. They look so much like leather that you wouldn't, unless somebody came and said these are synthetic leather seats.
Yeah,
you
couldn't tell.
You couldn't tell the difference. But they're going to be a lot more durable, clean up a little bit easier than leather would. Probably not rip or tear, that kind of stuff.
And we can't forget red tow hooks.
You got to have the red tow hooks on the Z71.
I feel like it's not a thing now. I love them.
It's not a serious off-road vehicle unless it has red tow hooks.
Yeah, it's just the color's perfect. It pops, and I don't know. I just think they've done a good job with accenting them. And
Yep. So we have heated. It comes with heated seats as an option. And the other weird
ventilated seats.
Ventilated seats. There's some weird things that we thought they did with the packaging of the Z71. Yeah. We understand they're trying to get the pricing a little bit lower than the RS, and we'll talk about pricing on the lineup here in a second. But for a vehicle like the Z71 that, at least in New England, is going to be like people's driving in every weather, every condition kind of thing, to not put ventilated seats as an option on the driver passenger seemed like a miss.
Yeah.
To not have second row heated seats on the second row also seemed like a miss to us. Those are things you can get on the RS, which does not have off-road tires, does not have all-season tires.
The other thing that I thought was a little strange was that you got the same red accents and stuff that came with the RS. It felt like there should have been a different, more like nature tone, some browns or something, rather than that sporty red, which I think it does work in the RS. It looks good. May not be for everybody, but I think in the Z71, it would have been cool if they did
some
different
wood grain, like some metal, something that kind of was more off-roadish type looking instead of this red trim.
So that would have been really nice, but hey,
that would have been
not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things.
Again, same 2.5 liter engine, no changes to the transmission or the engine. Does have that twin clutch all-wheel drive system.
Yep, and the drive modes.
Drive modes, more ground clearance, different tires. It kind of really makes for a nice, like I said, New England special is what it comes up to.
Yeah, I mean, if you're somebody that likes to go hunting or fishing or any of that kind of stuff, this is the perfect thing. Like we said, it's not a rock crawler, but if you do find yourself in a hairier situation, this thing, it's not just a badge. You have the features that you need and would want if you're going to go and do those things. So it's really exciting as truck guys to see some of that stuff included on the Traverse, which just hasn't, you wouldn't think that would be the vehicle they would do it on. But after driving it, I'm so glad they did.
And as much as the RS drove like the Colorado, I felt like the Z71 really drove like the Colorado. It really had this truck vibe to it. It was solid. It soaked up the bumps. You felt very confident on loose gravel. The Z71 was like, if you really wanted to get a Colorado, but you want more room because you got kids and a dog, get the Traverse, because it is the SUV version of the Colorado now.
Yeah, or if you're buying it as a family vehicle, but you want to also take it out for some adventuring on the weekends, I'd say you definitely should get the Z71.
Going to the boat ramp, want to pull stuff up a slick boat ramp, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, in towing.
Tow
5,000 pounds.
Yep, towing a package is standard on Z71 too, which is nice because I think you're going to find
That's a
an
good
intersection.
pairing.
Yeah, the intersection of people who drive this vehicle and want to do some light towing with jet skis or
Yeah.
a small boat is going to be,
ATV,
again, sweet
side
spot.
by side kind of thing.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Very perfect. So let's talk about pricing of the entire lineup. It's slightly, as all things are in this world right
everything's
now,
getting expensive.
It's slightly more than the outgoing model, but it still comes at quite a value compared to the competition.
Yeah.
The LS base front-wheel drive Trailblazer starts at around 38-ish or so, $38,000, with a all-wheel drive base LS model coming in around 40. If you want to up to the Z71, you're talking more about $47,000 that in the all-wheel drive version. And if you want a fully loaded RS with all the bells and whistles, including Super Cruise, you're looking at about $57,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but when you compare it to the competition, like Grand Highlander, for instance, it's a lot less money. So
it is, yes.
You're talking thousands of dollars of less money. So it's a competitively priced vehicle, and that's
very
exciting.
competitively priced.
Because of that, they're
vehicle.
going to sell a ton of these things.
They are going to sell a ton. And I would even argue that, my past generation Buick Enclave, it had a sticker price of about $60,000, which is more than the RS would be in this situation. And the $57,000 RS whoops the butt of my $60,000 Buick Enclave.
Really?
From refinement to cabin noise to sound system, Super Cruise, infotainment, all these things, like the feature set on the RS is just very
It'll be
impressive.
exciting to see what they do with the Enclave.
Yeah, so that really has me excited about the future 2025 Buick Enclave.
Yeah, which I'm sure we'll be doing an episode on at some point when we get more information on it and get to drive it and all of that. So.
Yeah. And we're driving the Acadia next week.
Yeah, that'll be a great comparison to see. It looks like the interior's a
little bit different.
Differences and stuff. So
Yep.
It'll be great to get behind the wheel on that and report back to you guys on what we think of the new Acadia.
Yeah. So if you're interested in the new Traverse, first off, head down to your local dealer or Banks Chevrolet. They're coming in finally
they're on dealers'
noticeable
lots now.
Noticeable figure numbers now are showing up. But as we said before, they're leaving dealership lots as sold units as quickly as they're showing up. So if you have one that you're interested in or a specific configuration that you like, go to the Chevy website, configure it. It'll tell you if there are any close by, or contact your local dealership and they can hook you up. They're going to have a list of vehicles that are not only on the ground, but coming in the near future. Yep. So the more specific you are about the configuration, color options, you may have to wait a little bit, but there are a ton of them showing up right now. And you should at least go and take one for a spin, see what you think.
Give it a drive. This is going to be probably the best crossover of the year. It's going to be winning some awards. GM's done a great job. The design, inside, out, engine, everything about it.
I'm officially now nominating the Traverse Z71 as the NEMPA Winter Vehicle of the Year. Right? You got it?
Yep. I'm totally on board.
Starting the campaign today.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Thanks for watching another episode of GM Joyride. We'll be back with episode number 4 a lot quicker than we were back with this episode number 3.
Yep. Please like and subscribe if you want more information on the 2024 Chevy Traverse. Check out GM-Trucks.com. Also check out our forum. Join over 1 million other people that visit the forum every single month. We also have a really popular, it's exploding right now, the 2024 Traverse and Acadia group on Facebook. So we'll put the link for that down below.
Yep.
And last but not least, we want to shout out to Banks Chevrolet, who has provided us this amazing studio to film in. And not only do we come here and record the show, but we've been Banks customers for our business and personal vehicles for years, and would recommend them for all of your GM car buying needs.
They're amazing.
Yeah, we can't say anything bad at all. So check them out, and see you next time.